Hey guys, we're back for another video. I'm on my consistency stuff, okay? This is gonna be my second video, and it's gonna be like exactly a week or maybe a day, 6 days from my last video. In my last video, I told you guys I'm not gonna tell you guys, oh, I'm gonna be consistent, oh, I'm gonna do this, oh, I'm gonna do that, because I don't want to say that and not show up, because that's what I always do. But here I am, showing up for you guys, showing up, okay? So today's video, I'm gonna give you guys a story time, and this is something that I haven't really spoken about. I haven't really told anyone, like, you know, the details of this, the details of my life, the details of pregnancy while in college, mom at 20. And yeah, I haven't really spoken on this, so let's get into it.
What is it you see? What is it you see? Tell me, what do you believe in?
I became a mother at 20 years old, my sophomore year of college. Yes, I did. It's like I beat teen pregnancy, which I love. Woo! Go me. No shade to those who are teen mothers. Y'all do y'all thing. I'm proud of y'all. Go ahead. Being a mother is not easy, no matter what age you are. So pat on the back. I can't speak. Pat on the back for those who are young mothers. Whether you're a teenager or whether you're in your 20s. Whether you're in your 30s and you still feel like you're 16 and pregnant. Because like I said, it doesn't matter how old you are. When you conceive, when you give birth, you're going to feel like you're a young mother, because ultimately being a mother is something that's new to you, and it's hard no matter what age you are. Honestly, it's hard, and it doesn't matter if you're 30, doesn't matter if you're 40, doesn't matter if you're 16. It is hard. There's nothing that will ever prepare you for this. People be like, oh, they've had younger siblings so they understand. No, having younger siblings does not, even if you really raised your younger siblings, it does not come nearly close to getting pregnant, dealing with the whole pregnancy and giving birth. It doesn't compare. So when people be like, oh, I have younger siblings and I understand, no, it's not the same. It really isn't. But back to my story, back to me, because here I am trying to stray away from the topic. Y'all see me? Hold me accountable, because I see me and I see what I'm trying to do. So I found out I was pregnant. I want to say I think it was May 2023. Yeah, I'm thinking it's 2022. No, it couldn't have been 2022 because 2023 was just a couple weeks ago. So May 2023, because I gave birth the same year that I got pregnant. That's how I know, okay? May 2023, I found out I was pregnant in my college dorm with my boyfriend. I was like shocked, so shocked. And it's like, why you shocked, girl? You know what you was doing. Not too much on me and not too much on that, but yeah, I was really shocked. I go to college in Maryland. My family's in New York. I'm from New York, born and raised in New York. So it's just like, wow, what's next? Where do we go from here? And it was one of those things where it was like, I instantly knew, like, I'm a mother. No drama. It was never no, I can't do this. This is not it. Like, honestly, the way I thought about it, it was like, I laid down and I made this child. I'm gonna take care of this child. And honestly, if I'm being so for real, I've wanted to be a mother for as long as I know. Like as long as I could think back, I've been wanting to be a mother. Like, I'm talking about like 3rd, 4th grade. I was like, I want to be a mom. I love kids. I want to be a mom. And everybody says that's cliche. I love kids, but I love kids. I want to be a mom. And so finding out in my dorm room, it was just like, wow. Me and my boyfriend had not been dating for long, but he's a great man, y'all. He's a great man, and he gets on my nerves, and I'm currently upset with him right now. If I'm being so for real, I'm currently upset with him right now, but that's besides the point. We argue, we fight, we love each other, we live together, we have a child together, we're together. So he's a great man, and I knew, like, okay, I could see myself raising a child with you. I can see us having a family. I could see this progressing. And so instantly it was like, well, I took like 4 or 5 tests. If I find the picture, I'm going to insert it here. I took like 4 or 5 tests just to make sure, like, okay, I'm actually pregnant. Yeah, I took like 4 or 5 tests, and I was just like, well, this is what it is. I did the crime, and now I'm going to do the time. No, but like, yeah. I instantly knew this is what I wanted. This is what I'm going to do, and I knew it was not going to be easy, and I knew that I did not want to tell anybody. I really wanted a private pregnancy, and that's exactly what I did. So I first called my friend, and she was on vacation, and I told her, because we were supposed to be getting an apartment together. And that's a whole nother story, and like, oh, that's a whole nother story, and I really feel bad about that to this day. We were supposed to get an apartment together. We had, I think, already signed the lease, but my boyfriend happened to be getting an apartment at the same time at the same apartment complex. So I was just like, I feel obligated to be living with my boyfriend. I feel like we need to live together. We're about to have a whole family together, and I felt awful, and still to this day I feel awful, because that's like caused the drift, and that's a whole nother story on its own that I just don't want to get into. But I had already signed the lease. We were supposed to be moving in, I want to say a month or maybe a couple weeks from when I found out. No, maybe 2 months. I don't remember exactly, but I know we had already signed the lease. It was set in stone. We have been talking about this since we were freshmen, that we were going to get an apartment together. And it was going to be so cute. It was going to be bachelor pad, and I already started buying stuff, and she started buying stuff, and we were just so excited. But, you know, the second I saw those 2 lines on the test, it's like my priorities shifted, and I knew instantly, like, that this is what I have to do. I have to live with him. We have to raise our child in the same household. And though I owed her, you know, that, I owed her that to be there with her, because we had already went through that. And honestly, if it was the other way around, I would have been very upset. But at the same time, I would have understood. But maybe I'm just saying that because I wasn't in her shoes, you know? I don't know. But yeah, I had already signed the lease with her, and I had to let her know that this ain't that, and that ain't this, and I feel bad. But, you know, it's here, it's there, it's gone, it's done with. But yeah, so me and my boyfriend, he moved into his apartment. I moved in with him. We moved out. We were both living in 2 separate dorms. I was on campus. I was a resident assistant. He was off campus. He was in our school's housing, but he wasn't living on campus. I was living in a dorm on campus, and he was living in an off-campus dorm a couple blocks away. So I moved out of my dorm. He moved out of his, and moved into our apartment. We had a 1-bedroom. And yeah, it was like, wow, this is that. We went from like getting to know each other. I mean, we knew each other before, obviously. I don't know why I'm saying that. We dated, we were cool. Okay, let's start from the origin of this. We were cool for a little while. Not a little while. We were cool. We were friends before we started dating. We started dating a couple weeks later. Was it weeks? No, months. 2 months? Whatever, something like that. I got pregnant, and then little short before I know it, we were in an apartment together. So yeah, that was crazy. I mean, I was 20 years old, went from living in my dorm, being a resident assistant, to, did I have this here the whole time, to living in an apartment with my boyfriend. But back to the whole wanting to keep a secret, I told my friend, and she was the first person I told, and then I felt like I had to tell my sister. And this was the scary part, because me and my sister are really, really close, and I didn't know what she was gonna say. And she also had a child young. She had a child when she was 18, my nephew, and I just didn't know what she was gonna say, didn't know how she was gonna feel. And like, her opinion means everything to me. Like, if you have a big sister, you know, especially in our circumstance, her opinion means a lot to me. And that was really hard to tell her. Once we got through that, and her instantly crying, emotional, not because she was sad, not because she was disappointed, but like, wow, my little sister's gonna be a mother, as I told y'all, a mother. That was a lot. That was a lot, but she was happy for me, and it was like I needed her seal of approval, you know? Honestly, I was gonna do what I was gonna do. I was gonna have my child regardless, but her opinion meant so much to me, and it still does mean a lot to me. What she thinks means everything to me. Like I said, if you have a big sister, then you know. So yeah, after that, I told my 2 best friends. Shout out Jada. Shout out Alejandra. And yeah, that was crazy. So my home in New York is where my oldest sister lives. So I have 2 sisters. I have that sister, and then I have an older sister. And she practically raised me after our mom passed. So I was living with her since I was in 7th grade. It was us 2 in an apartment. Our other sister moved out with her boyfriend. And, you know, like I said, she had her child at 18, so they had their own little family. And me and my oldest sister lived together. So telling her was a no-go for me, because she felt like I don't want to say it's like a mom, but like she felt more like a mother figure than my other sister, because we're closer in age. Telling her it was something I was just not going to do, or like, I don't know what my thinking was of how that was going to go with her, but I was not trying to tell her, and I held off as long as I could. The story with how she found out is bizarre to me. So I still got mail sent back home, because I was just at college for like the school months, and I went home during the breaks and during the summer. So all my mail was still sent home, because that's my permanent address. Well, it was my permanent address. And I went to a patient first, which is like an urgent care out here. And that's when I had my blood drawn a couple weeks after finding I was pregnant, just to confirm the pregnancy. And they actually sent a letter to the house, because I had a out-of-state insurance. So I guess it was something about billing or whatever. And the bill said HCG, which, if you don't know anything about like pregnancy, women's health, HCG is what pops up in your urine when you're pregnant. So it said it. And long before I knew it, my whole family knew that I was pregnant, because she told them. And that for me was so hard. Like, I don't know why. I'm a go-getter. I do everything on my own. I take care of myself. I always have. But I just didn't want to tell them. I'm not one for somebody else's opinion. I don't want how other people view my situation to change how I feel about my situation. I am easily embarrassed. I care a lot about what other people say. And that's a big one, because a lot of people won't admit that. But I will easily admit that I care a lot about what other people say. And so that was really hard for everybody else to find out from me, because I didn't want anybody else to know outside of the people I told. And at first, I thought it was my other sister who told my older sister. And still to this day, I will never know. But she told me, and I'm going to go off her word, that it was a letter sent to the house. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. It could be true. It could not be true. I will never ever know. At this point, it doesn't matter. But like, I was so upset at my sister, because I thought that she told her, and I made it clear from the very jump that I did not want her to know. And if I did want her to know, I was gonna be the one to tell her. Because of course it was my business. Until this day, she swears down and she didn't tell her. But like I said, we'll never know. So my oldest sister had texted me. It was like, I forgot exactly what she said, but she was like, oh, I hope it's a girl or something like that. And so I never like addressed the whole keeping it a secret. I just jumped straight into, okay, well, you know now, so I don't know what it's gonna be, but we'll see. Ha 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 ha. Oh, she was like, oh, if it's a girl, I'm gonna teach her how to curse or something bizarre like that. And it's like, okay, she's cool about it, so I can breathe now. How everybody else feels, my aunts and uncles, whatever, that doesn't really matter. Cousins, that doesn't matter. The 2 most important women in my life support me on it, are happy for me. And that's all that matters. Just getting through that took months. I remember, like, my sister telling me at work that my oldest sister found out, and I was crying at work. Like, I didn't know what to do. I called my boyfriend. I was just crying. It felt like my world was crashing in on me, and I don't know still to this day why it's that big of a deal or why it was that big of a deal. But to me, that was crazy. Okay, crazy. But hey, we made it through it. We got past that, and yeah. The next big thing was me being in a sorority. If you don't know, I'm a part of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and I really didn't want I don't want them to find out. I'm just gonna sit here and be honest. I did not want them to find out, and I told one of my line sisters, which happens to be one of my closest friends. Her name is Gabby. Shout out to Gabby if you're watching this. I told her, and I knew she wasn't going to tell anybody else because we just have that bond. We were friends before we crossed together. So, yeah. I didn't know how to navigate, like, telling people, and I knew that I didn't want to tell people because it goes back to the whole thing that I was saying about I don't want to hear opinions. I don't want to hear any of that. So I didn't tell them. I didn't post. I mean, I posted things, pictures, but not of myself. It would be like if I was out doing something or whatever, but the whole time I'm walking around with a belly. And not even a belly, because I did not show until I was probably like 32 weeks, I want to say. It wasn't until farther into my pregnancy. But yeah, I was scared to go on campus because I didn't want anybody to see. I had a class on campus, and the rest of my classes were online. I didn't want to go on because I didn't want people to see. I tried like emailing my professors, like trying to get like not have to go in because you never know who you're gonna bump into. But there was still times where I had to go, and so I waddled my little way up to campus. At the time, I did not live far, and yeah, nobody found out. Also, I want to add that nobody knew the gender of my baby until, or his name, because obviously if they didn't know his gender, they didn't know his name. I did not tell anyone except for my boyfriend's family, his mom, his sister, and his dad. Those are the only people that knew. Oh, and I told my aunt. She didn't tell anybody. Shout out to her. But outside of that, nobody knew his gender and nobody knew his name. We knew his gender. We obviously knew his name. And we decided not to share that with anybody. So none of my friends, even though I told like 4 or 5 friends, those 4 or 5 friends that knew didn't know his name, didn't know his gender. And that was honestly so much fun to do. Like, I thought I was gonna slip up. I thought I was gonna say something that I wasn't supposed to say. So really, I tried to avoid talking about my pregnancy with my friends, because especially if I was like on the phone, because I'm like this, I'm ranting, I'm rambling, I'm going on. And that's how my aunt actually found out, because I slipped it out. So I didn't want to take that chance with them. So I would not try to talk too much about my pregnancy when we were on FaceTime and stuff like that. My 2 best friends, one lives in New York, Alejandro lives in New York. My other best friend, Jada, lives in Virginia. So we're all like internet besties at this point. Like, it's been a while since we've seen each other, so we FaceTime a lot because that's how we keep in contact. Those are my girls. Those are my best friends. Those are my 2 closest friends. And yeah, like, I did not announce my baby until New Year's Day at midnight. It had just turned 12, and I posted a picture, and if I could find the picture, I'll add that here too. I was like starting the new year off as a family of 3. And when I tell you, the share has been crazy on my story, because I have the analytics on and I can see when people share it. The shares went absolutely loco. People went crazy, sharing it, loving it. People texting me, you had a baby. Group chats that I was in, Monica had a baby, and I was like, oh boy, why did I do that? But eventually I was gonna go outside and I was gonna be seen with my baby in my stroller, so it was something that I had to do. I had to announce my pregnancy. But the pregnancy was over at that point. And I posted my whole pregnancy. Nobody knew I was pregnant besides those 5 friends. And it was a shock to a lot of people. And I just had so many flooding of messages and stuff, and I was just like, ugh, this is kind of what I wanted to avoid. But at the same time, it felt happy and freeing to be able to, you know, just, I'm pregnant. Whoop-de-doo. I mean, I'm not pregnant anymore, but I had a child. I have a baby. Whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop-de. And in the college I go to, a lot of people have apartments. They still stay out here full year round. So eventually I was going to go to the mall or somewhere, and somebody was going to see me. So I had to, you know, I didn't have to explain myself. Let's make that clear. I didn't have to explain myself. I didn't have to announce that I had a baby. But it was just something that I wanted to eventually post about him. So that's what I did. And honestly, if you're watching this video right now and you're pregnant, or eventually you know you want to have a child, I just say to keep it to yourself. Keep it private. And it's just so peaceful that way. Like, not having to hear anybody else's opinions, not like being hounded. What are you having? What's gonna be its name? Like, all of that was just so much. Like, that was something I didn't want to avoid. I wanted to avoid, especially while being 20 and in college. Like, I'm impressionable no matter what I choose to believe. I still feel like sometimes like I'm in high school, like I'm 16, 17. I'm impressionable. I'm in my early 20s. I'm learning. So it's just like, that's that on that. But honestly, if you're thinking about having a private pregnancy, this is your sign to keep it to yourself. Keep it private until you're ready. Even if you're ready to post about it 6 months, 7 months into your pregnancy, do it on your terms. Shout out to Halle Bailey for doing hers. Is it Bailey? Yeah, Halle Berry. Shout out to her for doing hers exactly how she wanted to do it and not announcing. People had lots of speculations, but she did not announce it until she was ready. And that's the best thing you could do. You have to do what's best for you. And I went about my pregnancy how I thought was the best for me. And yeah, that's basically my pregnancy story. I do want to follow up with you guys and give you a postpartum story, because that in its own is going to be a whole nother vulnerable video. Like, that's going to be really vulnerable, talking about my experience postpartum, because it was not a walk in the park for me, if I'm going to sit here and be very honest. It wasn't. But that's my pregnancy story. That's how it went down. That's how I became a mommy, Anna, a mother at 20 years old. I had my baby at 20. I got pregnant at 20. I am now 21, and in 2 weeks I'm turning 22. So that's my story. That's how it went down. If you made it this far, thank you for listening. Like, shout out to you. Thank you for listening, because I rambled a lot, but this is honestly something I wanted to film. I wanted to talk about, because I haven't talked about it. Like, I make little videos here and there on TikTok about being a mother, but I haven't talked about my pregnancy itself and how that went down. And that's honestly just a brief overview. I can get so much deeper into little itty bitty things, but we're gonna get to that. We're just getting started with this channel, y'all. There's so much to come. So thank you for sitting here and watching this, if you watched it. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. What do y'all want to see next? Like, we'll get into it. Thank you for sitting here and watching. Till next time.
I think I like this little life. This little life. I think I like this little life.